What is going on, guys? Ghost Predator here. Welcome to Madden 23. Today I've got a tutorial vid, hopefully to help you guys read defenses and play against them in general. Now, defense has gotten quite a makeover this year. Not only does the coverage play better, both man and zone, but so does the pass rush and the QB contain assignments. That being said, the strategy most players would use in previous Maddens, that really isn't as effective this year anymore. What a lot of people would do is they would hike the ball, scramble outside the pocket, and try to hit a crossing route downfield. But if you were to try to do that in Madden 23, more likely than not this is going to happen. Your quarterback is going to get sacked because, again, the containment plays much better now. As you can see here, whenever I try to scramble with Daniel Jones, who granted isn't the best scrambler in the league, but certainly is nowhere near the worst, the defense right there is containing him very nicely. And I think that's the problem with why a lot of people are struggling with defense this year, is that they got so used to the stuff that was broken in the previous Madden games that they never really bothered to learn any of the basics. And that's what I want to try to help with in this video. Now, getting to the point of this video, first I want to show you guys my settings here, because I already know some people are probably going to comment if I don't show these. The skill level is set to All Pro, which is the default difficulty for online play, and if I go to player skill, everything is still on neutral. Again, if I did not show these, someone would probably comment down below saying I tinkered with the settings. Well, there you go, guys. That shows that I have not tinkered with the settings. But getting back to the point of this video, so how do you read defenses? Well, one thing I like to do personally whenever I see my opponent come out in defense is count how many deep safeties there are. So right now I'm counting 2. That would tell me that my opponent is probably playing cover 2 man, or cover 4. Now, they could be doing something entirely different. They could be base aligning their defense. They could be blitzing. I know there's a lot of things they could be doing, but a lot of times when you see 2 deep safeties, usually they're in cover 2 or cover 2 man or a cover 4 concept. So, but the way you want to tell for sure, if you're not sure if your opponent is in man or zone, well, motion a receiver across the field. And if the cornerback follows him, just like that, the cornerback lined up across from the receiver, that would mean that the defense is in man. So what you want to do, what I like to do, is I would put my receivers on man-beating routes, slants, zigs, outs, curls. There's a lot of routes you can use. You can even do crossing routes. It depends on your receivers, and also it depends on the pass rush. The pass rush is much better this year. There's not a whole lot of time to hold on to the ball, so that's why I would prefer using short routes. Again, slants, drags, zigs, outs. There's a lot of routes you can use. So put your receivers on that, and more likely than not, one of them will get open against man coverage. There will be times, all your receivers still get covered. It's all about finding the right guy. And if you have a receiver with specific abilities, you can look their way. But the main point is, in general, is once you figure it out if your opponent is in man, then usually you want to put your receivers on man-beating routes, like say an out route, say a slant route, a drag route. There's a lot of routes you can use. So we run the play again. We'll hit Kadarius Toney here on the zig route, and we get a pretty good gain out of that. Maybe like about 8 or 9 yards. I would take that. So, and you can motion any receiver. It doesn't matter. If it's in man defense, the cornerback is going to follow him just like that. So yeah, we're going to put Toney on a slant this time. We'll leave that out route, and we'll put Shepard on a slant route. And one of these is more likely to get open. This time it's Toney. Now that time the pass rush got home, and Daniel Jones threw a bad pass there. That just shows you how effective the pass rush is. A lot of times it will get home pretty quickly, so there's not a whole lot of time to throw the ball. But anyway, yeah, guys, in man defense, you want to run man-beating routes. And usually the routes I find most effective are slants, zigs, drags, or out routes even. So right here I got Shepherd open on the slant route. And that's an easy about 10-15 yard gain there. So again, the main point is if you're not sure if your opponent is in zone or man, if you have time on the play clock, just motion a receiver. And again, if the cornerback across from them follows them like that, then they are running man defense. So that's when you put your receivers on man beating routes, say a zig, say a slant, and one of them more likely than not will get open. And it's all about putting the pass on the money, too. Sometimes you may even get lucky runs like that. Now I'll show you guys what it looks like in zone. First of all, I will show you guys what to do against zone in general. Now, if I go to tray open here, now, just about every playbook will have a play like this, a play like the one on the right called Strong Flood. Now, if you're playing against an opponent that you know is running zone a lot, we'll have the defense in a cover 2 hard flat to show it as an example. So again, 2 deep safeties. So again, my opponent could be running either cover 2 man, or cover 4. And again, I would motion a receiver just to be sure most of the time. But this time I'm going to show you guys just what to do against zone in general. You want to flood them. You want to have a concept like what you see on the right here. Try to flood the zones. And then it all depends on, you know, where those cornerbacks on the right go. So pay close attention usually. Now if they go to the flats like what they're going to do here, that would mean the out route's going to be open. That's a pretty good 20-yard gain there. I would take that every time. This also works on cover 4. Now, if your opponent is playing over the top, that would mean that the flat route would get open. So again, you want to flood those zones if you know you're playing against zone coverage. Now, I'll also show you guys this in cover 2 man, or I'm sorry, cover 4 and cover 3. So we'll have cover 4 quarters here. Now I believe those curl flat color routes will cover flat if they're in cover 4. Now cover 4, that's when the far cornerback would drop way far back to cover deep, and the cornerback on the right will cover the flat route usually in cover 4. So as you can see there, he goes to cover the flat, and again the out route is open. But the main point is you want to flood those zones. So I'll show you guys cover 3 now and I'll also show you what it looks like when your opponent comes out in a cover 3 concept. So we'll run cover 3 scheme here. Now you see there's one safety deep. Now if there's one safety deep, then that would mean the opponent is probably playing cover 3. Now I have him in cover 3 scheme, and again, if that far cornerback on the right, now he's going to go deep, but the one in the slot, if he either drifts back to cover the out or comes up to cover the flat, that would depend on which one I would hit. Now right there he actually went to the flat, but we were still able to hit it. I held on to the ball a pretty long time there. But yeah, it all depends on where you want to go. But again, the out route is open here. So again, it depends on where that cornerback goes. If he goes to cover the flat, then hit the out route. And if he drifts back to cover the out, then hit the flat. But that's what will happen if you flood the zones. Now, I will show you guys what it looks like when you motion a receiver. Let me see here. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So, alright, so I'm going to come out in this play drive, and we'll have the defense come back and cover 2. Now here's what it looks like if you motion a receiver on the opposite side against zone. So as you can see, the cornerbacks, they don't really follow the receivers against if they're in zone. Now, what I like to do against cover 2, which is what I would think my opponent is in here, because the cornerbacks are so far up, what I would like to do against cover 2 is I would put my slot receiver on a streak and put my outside receiver on a fade, and usually the receiver on the outside gets pretty open here. Right there, as you can see, Sterling Shepard is open. That's a pretty big gain, and there are times he would break that for a touchdown too. So again, if I'm not sure what my opponent is in, I'd motion a receiver. Now, I would think he's in cover 2 here because of the safeties and the cornerbacks didn't follow him. So again, I'm going to put the slot receiver on the streak, put my outside receiver on a fade against cover 2. This is very effective because, as you can see, the outside receiver does get pretty open. But yeah, flood those zones, guys. It really helps if you kind of know what your opponent is in, because if you know they're in zone coverage, you want to try and flood the zones, which is what you gotta do in order to combat zone coverage. So again, this is very effective against cover 2. I can throw this pretty much all the time, and this time we're gonna take it for a touchdown. And yeah, that's basically the gist of it, guys. To read defenses general, what I like to do again is count the safeties. Again, if there's 2 deep safeties, opponent's probably in cover 2, cover 4, or maybe cover 2 man. And if there's 1 deep safety, my opponent's probably playing cover 3. But the way to tell for sure is to motion a receiver. And depending on the circumstances or what you think your opponent's playing, just adjust accordingly. And that's all there is to it, guys. Now, one other thing I will show you guys is some plays you can use against cover 3. I haven't really shown cover 3 much, so I will show it here. Now, one play I like to use against cover 3, this was very effective in previous years, and it's still pretty effective in this one. But anyway, I am going to... We'll put the defense in the cover 3 buzz scheme. Now, now you can see, this is one of the different things that can fool you. Sometimes you want to pay attention to where the D-backs go. But again, we know it's cover 3, so again, in cover 3, the curl flats is very effective. Now the cornerbacks do a much better job getting down on it this year, but you'll still get at least a catch. Now again, we'll put the defense in a more obvious cover 3 concept. Again, the curl flats, very, very good play against cover 3. So right here we'll have them in a cover 3 scheme, and a cover 3 seam, I should say. Now there's 1 safety. That would tell me that my opponent is in cover 3. And again, one of my favorite plays to go to when I see cover 3 a lot is the curl flats. Now again, it's not as effective in this Madden as was in previous Maddens, but more oftentimes than not, you will still get a catch. As you can see, the cornerbacks would drift very far back. Their job is to cover deep, so they are going to drift back. Now, sometimes you may get a drop like we did last time. But right there, he actually caught the ball. And you can pick whichever one, too. Like, sometimes even the running back would get open as well. You can hit the running back up the middle, as you'll see right here. Now, a lot of times the user will be covering that, but again, the curl flats is a safe option usually. Unless if your opponent is adjusting accordingly. But yeah, that's the gist of it, guys. Hopefully this helped you out. Hey guys, it's Ghost Predator, me from the future, you could say. Last thing I wanted to do before I cut the video is give you guys bonus tips to hopefully help you further. My first bonus tip is pocket presence. Now, too much and too often, I see a lot of people, myself included, I'm guilty of this mistake as well, step too far or too back away from the pocket, and what this does is it allows the edge rushers an easy angle to your quarterback for an easy sack. And not only that, but if you drift too far back, the buttons over your receivers' heads will actually disappear, making a successful throw pretty much impossible. What you want to do instead is stand in or step up inside the pocket. This usually will allow you an extra second or two to find the open receiver and get rid of the ball. So as you can see right here, we have a lot more time inside the pocket than when we were stepping away from it. If you stand in the pocket, usually you can make throws like this one for a huge chunk of yards, and sometimes even a running lane will open up for your quarterback, but you'll have more success inside the pocket than stepping too far back away from it. My other bonus tip is countering the loop blitz. You all probably know what the loop blitz is, and I'm pretty sure it's getting patched soon, but just in case, I will show you how it works and a few ways you can counter it. So the loop blitz is a blitzing play out of the 3-3 nickel, one where your opponent will press coverage, pinch the linebackers, and then contain the blitzing linebackers. This will allow them to run all the way around the offensive line right to the quarterback for an easy sack. Now, the most common and probably the most effective way to counter the loop blitz is just simply dump the ball off to your running back on a swing pass. Now, when your opponent runs the loop blitz, usually the man coverage assignments are misaligned, as more often times than not, your running back will be paired up with the safety on the opposite side of the field. This can allow you to throw it to your running back for a wide open catch for a huge chunk of yards. When it comes to running the ball against the loop blitz, if there's one running play that will work more oftentimes than not, it's definitely the trap run. Now, because the linebackers are blitzing around the line, this usually can leave the middle of the defense open for a run up the middle. Now, I find traps more effective than just regular draws. Unfortunately, not every playbook has a trap play in it. I know that the Cincinnati Bengals and the Denver Broncos playbook has one. But if you are running a playbook with a trap play in it, it's definitely a play you should have in your arsenal if you run into a player abusing the loop blitz. More often times than not, you will get at least close to first down yardage, if not better, if you run the trap play against the loop blitz. Now, if you want to pass the ball and need to block the loop blitz in general, the best way to probably do it is by blocking your running back and motion blocking your receiver on the opposite end. This can be a very useful tactic, especially with receivers that are good man beaters. In order to pull this tactic off, what you want to do is motion the receiver close to the line, and then just as he's about to get behind the tackle opposite the running back is when you want to hike the ball. As you'll see in slow motion here, just as the receiver is about to get behind the tackle is when you want to hike the ball, as this will allow him the easiest chance to pick up the blitzing linebacker. This tactic is tricky to pull off. It will require good timing, so I would encourage you to practice it, as it will more likely than not allow you an extra second or two to get rid of the football. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If this video helped you out at all, please give it a like. And if you have any tips you'd like to share, please share them down in the comments below. Also, if you guys like Madden or just gaming in general, please consider subscribing to my channel. As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, good luck in your Madden games, and I will see you in the next video.